Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Deep in the heart of Central America, the Panama Canal has stood for over a century as one of the world's most vital arteries of global trade. Since its grand opening in 1914, this engineering marvel has connected the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, transforming the way goods, people, and ideas move across continents. Every year, tens of thousands of ships pass through its locks, carrying everything from cars and electronics to food and fuel, making the canal a symbol of international cooperation and economic power. By bridging the vast expanse between the Atlantic and Pacific, the Panama Canal has long been the shortcut that powers global commerce, saving ships weeks of travel and billions in costs. But today, a formidable new rival is rising on the horizon. China has unveiled an ambitious $7.5 billion plan to carve a new transcontinental corridor across South America. This project, featuring a state-of-the-art megaport in Peru and a sprawling railway stretching all the way to Brazil, threatens to disrupt Panama's century-old dominance and rewrite the rules of global shipping. This is about far more than just concrete and steel. It's a contest for influence, a struggle for economic supremacy, and a battle over who will control the flow of goods in the 21st century. The stakes are enormous, not just for Panama, but for the entire world. China's land-based canal, anchored by the massive Chancay port and a high-speed rail link to Brazil's Atlantic coast, represents the most serious challenge to Panama's supremacy since the canal first opened its gates. If successful, it could shift the balance of trade, drawing shipping traffic away from Panama and toward a new, Chinese-backed route. As China's Belt and Road Initiative extends its reach into Latin America, the region finds itself at the center of a high-stakes geopolitical contest. Washington watches warily as Beijing invests billions, seeking to secure its own influence and access to vital resources. For Latin American nations, the promise of new infrastructure and economic growth comes with tough choices about alliances and sovereignty. The era of Panama's unchallenged reign as the world's trade crossroads may be drawing to a close. As new routes emerge and old powers compete for dominance, the decisions made today will shape the future of global commerce and the fate of nations for generations to come. Why does this distant rivalry matter? At first glance, the competition between the United States and China over a narrow strip of land in Central America might seem like a faraway issue, disconnected from our daily lives, but in reality, the stakes are enormous, and the consequences ripple across the globe, touching everything from the price of your morning coffee to the stability of international relations. This rivalry directly impacts the price of your goods, the security of supply chains, and the balance of global power. Every product that travels across oceans, electronics, clothing, food, relies on efficient, secure shipping routes. When these routes are threatened or disrupted, costs rise, shelves empty, and businesses everywhere feel the strain. The competition for control over these vital arteries of trade is about more than just economics. It's about who sets the rules for the world's commerce. The Panama Canal alone moves nearly $500 billion in goods each year, making it one of the most important shortcuts in global trade. Any disruption, whether from political tension, natural disaster, or new competition, means delays and higher costs worldwide. Imagine the ripple effect. A single bottleneck here can slow down manufacturing in Asia, raise prices in Europe, and cause shortages in the Americas. Now, China's ambitious plan to build a new route is a direct challenge to the status quo. This proposed corridor promises faster, cheaper access to global markets, potentially redrawing the map of international trade. If successful, it could shift the flow of goods, investment, and influence, giving China a powerful new lever in global affairs. For Latin America, Chinese investment brings much-needed jobs and infrastructure, roads, ports, and railways that can transform local economies. But these benefits come with risks, mounting debt, environmental concerns, and the possibility of becoming too dependent on a single foreign power. The region faces tough choices about how to balance opportunity with sovereignty. Panama itself, a nation built around its canal, now finds itself at the center of a delicate balancing act. With both the US and China vying for influence, Panamanian leaders must navigate a complex web of alliances, economic interests, and national pride. The decisions they make will shape not only their own future, but also the dynamics of power in the entire region. The rise of a rival corridor could fragment global trade, making the world more volatile and unpredictable. Competing routes might lead to shifting alliances, new trade wars, and increased uncertainty for businesses and consumers alike. The stability of the global economy could hang in the balance, with consequences that reach far beyond the shipping industry. Ultimately, the outcome of this contest will help define the economic and political landscape for everyone, shaping the way nations cooperate, compete, and connect in the decades to come. China's push to reshape trade routes is the result of decades of strategy to secure supply chains and reduce reliance on US-controlled choke points. The Belt and Road Initiative has poured billions into South America, laying the groundwork for a Pacific-Atlantic link. The COVID-19 pandemic and recent Panama Canal droughts exposed the risks of relying on a single waterway, accelerating China's plans. The opening of Chancay Port in Peru in 2024 turned ambition into reality, a deep-water port built for Chinese trade. This is no longer a concept, it's a functioning corridor, signaling China's vision is now in motion. The stage is set for a new era in global logistics. The centerpiece of China's grand vision in South America is the Bi-Oceanic Railway, a project that, if completed, will fundamentally reshape the continent's trade landscape and global economic connections. This ambitious railway is not just a line on a map, it's a bold attempt to stitch together the Pacific and Atlantic coasts, creating a direct artery for commerce and influence. Spanning nearly 3,000 miles, the railway will run from Peru's Chancay Port, climb over the formidable Andes Mountains, snake through the dense Amazon rainforest, and finally reach Brazil's bustling Atlantic coast. This route is more than a feat of engineering, it's a strategic corridor that could redefine how goods move across continents. At the heart of this plan is Chancay, a state-of-the-art megaport under rapid construction. Designed to accommodate the world's largest cargo ships, Chancay will bypass the bottlenecks and size restrictions of the Panama Canal, offering a new gateway for global trade. Once operational, the railway will transport vast quantities of South American commodities, like soybeans, iron ore, copper, and agricultural products, directly to China and other Asian markets. This promises to streamline exports, reduce shipping times, and lower costs for producers and consumers alike. Compared to current shipping routes, which often require long detours or passage through the crowded Panama Canal, this new land bridge offers a faster, more efficient, and potentially cheaper alternative for moving goods between continents. For China, the railway means a more secure and reliable supply chain, less vulnerable to disruptions or geopolitical tensions elsewhere. For South American nations, it opens the door to quicker access to lucrative Asian markets, potentially boosting exports and economic growth. The promise is mutual benefit, but the stakes are high. As South America's goods flow eastward, the region's economic orientation could shift, deepening its ties to China. This corridor is more than just steel and concrete, it's economic statecraft in action. China is not only building and financing the infrastructure, but also securing long-term control over critical trade routes, increasing its leverage and influence throughout the region. Experts warn that the ultimate aim is to reorient South America's economy toward Beijing, making it more dependent on Chinese investment, technology, and markets. As trade volumes surge and Chinese brands become more visible, the economic balance of power in the region could shift dramatically. The new land bridge is more than a logistical marvel. It's a symbol of a changing world order, where infrastructure becomes a tool of diplomacy and competition. In the end, this project is not just about moving goods. It's about moving influence, shaping alliances, and redefining the future of global trade. Panama is fighting back, launching an $8.5 billion modernization plan to keep its canal competitive. The Panama Canal Authority is entering the ports business, building 2 new terminals and investing in water security after crippling droughts. The goal: seamless, world-class service that no alternative can match. Panama courts both Western and Chinese investors, striving for neutrality amid superpower rivalry. By owning new terminals but outsourcing operations, Panama aims to leapfrog outdated technology and stay indispensable. The nation's strategy is clear: adapt, innovate, and remain the global trade hub. Panama refuses to be a pawn, it's fighting to shape its own destiny. The US-China rivalry has turned Panama into a geopolitical flashpoint. At the UN, both powers clashed openly over China's growing influence in the region. The US fears China's commercial presence could become strategic. China accuses the US of a Cold War mentality. Panama's leaders insist on sovereignty, but the economic pull of both giants makes neutrality tough. A stalled sale of key port concessions, caught between US and Chinese interests, shows the complexity Panama faces. Recent droughts and tariff surges have added economic pressure, with canal revenues fluctuating. Panama is battling on environmental, economic, and political fronts, its future hanging in the balance. The stakes for this small nation have never been higher. China's corridor could divert South American trade from Panama, reshaping global logistics and threatening Panama's revenue. Peru and Brazil may see economic booms, but at the cost of deeper dependence on China. Critics warn of trading short-term gains for long-term vulnerability. As China's influence grows, the US faces a challenge to its influence and may respond with its own investments, fueling a new era of great power competition. Environmental concerns loom large. The railway would cut through the Amazon, risking deforestation and displacement of indigenous communities. The promise of progress must be weighed against irreversible environmental costs. These projects force us to confront the true price of global trade. Experts warn the US is decades behind in countering China's influence in the Americas. China's win-win rhetoric masks a strategy of economic dependence, giving Beijing leverage over regional policy. Panama Canal authorities Ricard Vasquez sees competition as a catalyst for innovation, betting on technology to keep Panama ahead. The new corridor could unlock South America's potential, but threatens those invested in the Panama-centric model. The era of a single dominant trade route is over. A multipolar, competitive reality is here. The impact of China's corridor will depend on its efficiency, Panama's modernization, and political choices across the region. The global supply chain map is being redrawn before our eyes. We stand at a historic crossroads. Panama's canal and China's new corridor symbolize a world in transition. This rivalry will shape the flow of goods, power, and influence for the 21st century. The choices made now in Panama City, Washington, and Beijing will have consequences for generations. Will competition bring efficiency, or fragmentation and conflict? Will Latin America gain empowerment, or fall into dependency? Panama is investing to secure its future. China is building its vision of a new world order. The future of global trade is being built and contested every day. The crossroads of tomorrow is here. The path we choose will define the world to come.